This week, I'm going to talk a little Tony Romo. Don't get your hopes up, Cowboys fans. It ain't going to be good. I'm going to talk a little bit about why Eagles fans and Falcons fans both should be disappointed in last week's game. Hit you with my Week 3 picks and my 4th and goal. I'm the Trubl Zone. Good morning on the West Coast. Good afternoon in the heart of the Midwest and over on the East Coast. This is the Red Zone.
At night, your man is high on life. I rhyme the same way. Now I'll decide. Seen said to get back all the things we left behind. Step back, I'm coming inside. Alright, not here to start a fight. Are you receiving me?
Let's start things off this week by talking a little bit about Tony Romo. A lot of people are saying that, yes, I was well within my right to bash him for the complete and total horrible mess he made of Week 1, but that this week I should probably talk a little good about Tony Romo because, he came back into the game with broken ribs and a punctured lung. Well, guess what, Tony? Good job. You've started to make up for all the pansy moves that you've made so far in your career. Yeah, I've got a broken finger. Guess what, Tony? You just stepped in the right direction. But guess what? There's about 200 miles of wussy crap that you've pulled throughout your career that you need to continue to progress, to overcome. I still think you're one of the biggest pansy quarterbacks to ever play the game. And the fact that you're playing in Dallas is pretty much going to put you on my crap parade as it is. I think that you're worthless. I think you're a pansy. And last week is a single incident in a long history of you being a pansy. Eagles at Falcons. Falcons fans and Eagles fans, you should both be disappointed. Let's talk a little bit about this, all right? Neither team looked like they showed up to play until the last half of the game. Now, do I understand that Mike Vick is now out with a concussion? Yes. Okay. It's going to happen. He's a running quarterback, and I think a lot of the blame for that needs to be put on Andy Reid. But the fact is, that was the pigeon toe game of the week. I joined Carlos Sandoval and some of our blog partners to cover this game live. As those of you who watched that live coverage while you were watching the game, you realized I left at halftime. I was done. Seriously, I was done. It was a boring game. These are two high-powered offenses that didn't do anything. Next time, Philly, Eagles, here in Week 3. Philly and Eagles. Philly and Falcons, this week in Week 3. Yeah, I screwed up. Oh well. I think you both need to bring it a little bit harder this time because you were both boring. You both were boring to the point that I felt like I was watching a New York Giants game. Now, my Week 3 picks. I'm going out on a limb on some of these, and some of these I'm taking a really sure, safe bet. Number 1, I'm going to take the Panthers at home over the Jags. Let's be honest here. Yes, the Jags are putting in their rookie quarterback. We're going to go rookie versus rookie. But Cam Newton is on fire. Cam Newton is man-possessed, and Cam Newton is going to lead the Panthers onto the field, and they're going to bitch-slap the Jaguars all over the place. Now, I know I picked Frisco to go 0-16. They've already proved me wrong, and I've somewhat gotten myself in trouble for that. It happens. But I'm taking Frisco on the road over the Bungles. The fact is, I can't overlook the sheer heart and desire that the San Francisco 49ers are putting forth this season. They're like a completely different team. I'm also taking the Fish on the road over the Browns. Neither team is good. That's just the way it is. Neither team is good, but I think the Fish are that much better. Now, they are going to, and at this point in the year, the climate does not favor the Browns. It doesn't. Because it's still warm enough in Cleveland that the Fish are not going to be really begging for that Miami weather. Sure bet, I'm not making it a lock because the Bills have surprised me before, but I'm taking the Pats on the road in Buffalo over the Bills. I think that Tom Brady, with his 517 yards a couple weeks ago and his 4 touchdowns, I think that's going to overpower the Bills' defense. The Eagles, Eagles, you better play better than you did against Atlanta. I'm taking you at home over the Big Blue turnover crew. Let's be honest. Rams and Giants last week, that was a horrible game on both sides of the field. The Rams looked horrible, and the Giants looked even worse. The Giants did not look like anything. The only reason why the Giants actually won that game was because they relied on their running game the entire second half. Eli, pull your head out of your rear end and start hitting your dang receivers. Taking the Eagles with a backup over the Big Blue turnover crew, the New York Giants. I'm taking the Lions on the road. Yes, the Lions over the Vikings. And that will put the Lions at a recently historic 3-0. Taking the Texans on the road over the New Orleans Saints. Texans are on fire. Yes, they beat a very, very bad Colts team. But this is a Texans team that I actually believe in this year. I think they've got a lot of promise. Taking the Titans at home over the Broncos. Let's be honest. Denver sucks. And they're only going to suck worse if they do what the fans want and put in that idiot Tebow. Alright? He doesn't know how to play in the NFL. He's not going to be an NFL starter. Kyle Orton is the only chance that the Broncos have to play and win. And they're not going to do a whole lot of it with him. This is one of my not so sure bets, and this may be an upset. But the way Oakland has been playing, I am taking the Raiders at home in Oakland over the Jets. Baltimore, I am taking them on the road in a total and complete pimp slap down, smack down, kick you in the rear end domination of the St. Louis Rams. And that is one of my locks this week. I'm also taking San Diego at home in Cali over my horrible, pathetic Kansas City Chiefs. Another lock. Falcons on the road over the Buccaneers. Falcons, you better bring it this week because you did not look like a team that could beat Tampa Bay last week. But let's see if Matty Twice can actually get something rolling this week. Taking Arizona on the road over the Sea Chickens in an NFC West matchup. Let's be honest, the Sea Chickens blow. They're probably the worst, one of the worst teams, if not the worst, in the NFL. And that's really hard to say when you've also got to contend with Kansas City in that little hierarchy of worst teams. I'm taking the Packers to dominate the Bears at Soldier Field. Chicago, you don't impress me. And you definitely don't impress me enough that I think you can go one-on-one with the defending Super Bowl champions, in my opinion, the best team in the NFL, the Green Bay Packers. Colts fans, don't even turn on your TVs on Sunday because I'm taking the Steelers to obliterate your hapless Colts. It's not going to be pretty, and it's going to be in your house. But Indy sucks. Indy is horrible, and they've proven that Peyton Manning is the entire heart of that team. And, God, I don't want to do this. I can hear my Twitter account blowing up from Josh Wack right now. I'm going to take the Dallas Whack Boys at home on Monday night over the Redskins. Look, even if Tony Romo doesn't play, their backup is just as good as he is and probably a lot tougher. I take them over the Skins. The Skins, I have no respect for Mike Shanahan's coaching ability. I think that team has a long way to go and still needs a coaching change. I'm taking the Whack Boys on Monday Night Football, and I'm taking them by 10. This week's 4th and goal, look, there's been a lot of talk this week. And a lot of people are upset because players fake injuries to stop the clock. Folks, did you just start watching football? Players on defense have been faking injuries to stop the clock in dire situations since the NFL began. It's part of the culture on defense. Look, defensive players have 2 jobs. Stop the other team from winning and stop the clock if they can. That means if you can take down a guy in bounds, do it. If you can shove a guy out of bounds to stop the clock, you do it. The fact is people are freaking out about this because, and I understand why, because let's be honest, football is where us men go to get away from certain people who fake a lot of things. I'm the Trubl Zone. That was 4th and Goal. This has been the Red Zone. I am out of here. See you next week. Zone out.